You are listening to The Ben Keech Show, where every day the objective is simple. Ben will never stop fighting the fight and lighting the light on topics that affect you every day.
Welcome, fellow Americans and all the other little people running around this world that are listening right now. My name is Ben. This is the Ben Keech Show, and I'm glad you have decided to tune in. You can see I have some folks next to me. I'm going to introduce them in a second here. We are going to talk about one of the, maybe potentially the most important things if you're single, the most important thing you need to understand, because I'm going to tell you, you've probably screwed this up time and time and time again. So I'm going to tell you the topic in 1 second. I'm going to introduce. First, I have down here, I have Bruce Reynolds. I have next to Bruce, Brandi Anders. And then I'm going to see if I can get Jodi's name. I messed it up last time. Jodi Cacioppo.
Cacioppo. You almost say it.
I just was going to go for it knowing I was going to mess it up. But luckily she knows her name and she's helping us out with that today. So the thing that we're going to talk about today, guys, is we're going to talk about how people screw things up in the first month of dating. So in a month, I mean, a lot can happen in a month. Honestly, this could be the first 3 minutes for some of you. So, you know, I almost said a joke, you know, you need to get the first 3 minutes right. If you can't get, anyway, I'll just move on. And it's a singles group. The point of this is that you guys and gals mess things up early. Some of you don't. And so we're going to talk about things that we do right and wrong in our communication in the beginning of the dating process. So I'm going to start with Jodi. Jodi, exactly. You're here. You're good for it. So which one do you want to attack? Good things, bad things? What do people do right and wrong in the beginning of the dating process in terms of just trying to get to know you?
Get to know me.
Or maybe things you've done right or wrong. And
well, I know what I do wrong.
Okay.
I have been taught by one of my coaches that I have too much masculine energy. And I don't allow my feminine energy to take over, so I could intimidate some people.
Okay.
Men especially.
Little weak men.
Little weak men.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you got a lot of masculine energy sometimes, so you're like, whoa.
She's got a few ounces.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to be better about that. And I think we touched on that a little bit last time about paying for checks and things like that. So I have to be careful not to tell too much.
Okay.
Because I tell too much way too fast.
Okay. All right.
You know, especially at my age. It's like I got 10 decades to go through. Let me tell you all about what's happened in my whole life.
10 decades? That's a lot. How old are you? That's
not 10. That's a
okay. I was like, shoot.
No, I got 5 decades to go
through. All right. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm just trying to help you out there because there's no dating sites for people that are over 100. I can promise you that.
She's about to start one. You not seen the nursing home?
Yeah. What do they talk about?
I know.
World War I?
There's a site for that.
Unfortunately, there's a site for everything, but that's a different story.
But that's one thing, telling too much too fast.
Okay.
And then making sure that I stay in my feminine energy and not my masculine energy.
Okay. We'll come back to that too. Brandi, what about you? What have you seen with mistakes or good things with just the beginning starts of conversation? What do people do right or what do people do wrong?
Well, I think wrong right away when they start talking sex within the first even conversation, week or whatever. If you can't naturally take a woman there, then you probably should stay at home with your hand.
Okay, yeah.
Good point.
Letting that process. That's a good point. You're right. And that thing naturally takes someone there. Like this is a thing that sometimes I don't know if the men understand, that naturally taking someone there means can't be your objective. If you're glued in, if that is your focus, if that's what you want, it's going to come out in an unnatural way most of the time. So
for us women, I don't know about, I can't speak for men, but for me, when I feel like I've already had sex with you before we've already had sex because you talk about it so much, it's dead.
Yeah, right.
And I'm demisexual, so.
Wait, what does that mean?
It means that I have to have that emotional connection.
Okay.
Kind of like sapiosexual.
Gotcha.
I'm really attracted to very smart, intelligent people.
Right.
So I just think guys try too hard on the sexual part, maybe because they come from a relationship where they never got it. I don't know, but you're going to get it a lot more if you go about it different ways. Like men are visual and physical, and women are emotional and verbal. So if you tend to our emotional and verbal side, you'll get all of our physical.
Right. So then, okay, let me ask, we're going to get to a man over there in 1 second. I want to just one quick follow up on that. So if a guy like honestly wants to like not make the mistake you're talking about, like how do you, and you're, giving him some type of advice, like he's like, well, when do I do this or when do I not, or how am I supposed to know? Like, well, how would you advise him in terms of navigating the sexual dialogue in a conversation?
Well, I think, for one, it naturally goes there at some point, right? So when you're into each other, there are some things that just organically take place. If I need to spell it out to you or break it down for you or tell you, hey, by the way, then we probably shouldn't be together.
Right. One of the things I've talked to some friends about in regards to this is even if it's not directly sexual, it's it's like sending like gifts or something with like two people cuddling, or like asking, are you a good cuddler, or or like just like almost like not like very specific compliments to their body, where it's almost unnatural because they're not there with you yet. Like we're not thinking, like a female's generally speaking not thinking of cuddling with you in a romantic sense, unless that's just what she wants, but in a romantic sense, so it's like they tippy-toe around they may not come out and say sex, but they're also like dancing all around it with that on their mind, and you're shooting yourself in the foot, or there too, if you're like just hinting at things. Like even the hinting can be gross, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it just depends. I mean, if you have a connection with someone when you meet them, right?
Right.
Like, and if there is a connection and there's something to build off of, the rest of it will grow organically. Like I've had guys I've talked to and thought, oh, this could potentially be something, and they've sent that, and I've been like, oh, that's cute, like,
right.
And that conversation, I will run with it,
right.
But if you send it to her and she's like short and quick and one-worded responses or don't respond, well, there's your sign.
That was a mistake. But then
it's kind of like that.
But then I think a more astute guy has already read that room and knows, like, it's a mistake. You don't, like, if you're not sure if you should send it, don't. Just you're not there. You should know if it's okay. You shouldn't have to worry if it's going to be taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
Bruce, I told you we'd include you tonight. So from the male side of things, actually maybe speaking more to females, what mistakes have you seen females make in like some of the early communication?
I think, one of the things I look for is what can I offer the other person?
Okay.
And what can they offer me, and how does it fit? I may have mentioned this in a previous podcast. One of the things that's come up is, just like sex, women will hit around about money and finances, and that's come up several times.
In what way do they hint? What does that mean?
They will essentially be like, oh, I can't pay my rent, or my car's broken, or like that kind of stuff, like kind of indirectly where they're dancing around it. And I've had that several times, and it's kind of the same way, where I'm like, absolutely not.
That's kind of interesting. Is it more younger women that do that, or you have the more 40s, or
it's a mix?
A mix.
And
I don't think that's a woman, though. I think you're in a pattern of finding the same type, and I had to learn that about myself.
Well, yeah, and sometimes they're just out there, right? Like sometimes you'll be having a conversation, and they will go there. And it's kind of the same thing. Like there's certain things that most men do not want to deal with that. And I find that a lot of those women tend to bounce around relationships.
Because they're looking for a sugar daddy.
Yeah, right. And so, well, again, right? Like, I would much rather just people be direct about what you're getting out of it. Because if you can't be direct from the beginning, you're not going to be direct at the end. And the other thing is, like, if you're inconsistent, like, whatever your behavior is, I want it to be consistent at the beginning. If you text a bunch, then don't text a bunch and then go completely dark.
Yeah.
Or if you don't message much and you have a lot going on, and just be like, hey, I have a lot going on, but be consistent with that messaging.
Well, I want to play off of what you said, like a woman mentioning her rent and all like that. That's out there. She's not in it for the right reasons. But I've done things where, like, my hot water heater just went out. And, of course, this guy's message and, like, hey, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm having a shitty day. I'm trying to figure out my hot water heater situation or whatever. Not to look for them to pay or offer, just to see what their response is. Because it's easy to be there for someone when everything's good. But it's when things are hard or when something needs to be handled or whatever. And believe it or not, it was the guy that was 4 hours away, said, I'll throw my tool bag in my truck and drive straight there tonight and take off work tomorrow to fix it for you if you need me to.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
So, to me,
And
kudos
he did that.
to
And
him.
he did that.
And I said, I didn't let him
Okay. Oh, I
because I
see.
had already had
Yeah.
my
gotcha.
guy coming.
Right.
Granted, I wished I would have because it ended up costing me $1,925 for a hot water heater.
Right.
But that's fine. That's my house. It's my responsibility. But yeah, at some point, I'm going to expect the guy I'm talking to step up for stuff like that. Because if I got to be more of a man than you are, then yeah.
So then, are you saying that? So dating like more of a handyman is important, or what? How do you look at that?
No, even at that, just taking charge. Like, hey, I don't know how to do it, but I got a friend that can, or I can call.
Gotcha. Right.
It's being a man, being a leader,
Right.
and that's where men have lost it this day and age.
Right.
That like they want 50-50. They want the woman to carry just as much of the burden and everything else. I want a man to step up and be a man. You know how things used to be? I would like to go back to those days.
Right.
I
What-
agree with you.
I think 50-50 is subjective though. Like 50-50 can mean different things, right? Like you can step up in certain areas and the other person can backfill or have your back. And you can still have, in theory, a 50-50 relationship. We have each other's back, but maybe it's not 50-50. Everybody's going to have bad days or bad times they go through.
Yeah. The first time a man tells me he wants a 50-50, I'm out.
It's
70-30.
It's not even that.
It's not even that. It's just
Yeah,
lead.
man.
Just lead.
Just lead. You
Yes.
lead.
Yeah.
If you want her to be in her feminine state and you want her to do the things that a woman should do, you need to do the things that a man needs to do. And a man leads. You lead the relationship. You are the masculine one. You were created to be the leader.
Right.
So I'm not going to obviously bear children for you at this time. We're done with that. But the point is
Right.
I carry more of an emotional support and things that the men don't. So I need a man that can lead, that knows when to take control and stuff, or for me.
And does it in a loving way, a respectful way.
Right.
I think that women, and we've talked about this before, women get themselves, in a tizzy because they've have had controlling men. People have led for their own selfish desires with their own insecurities. And so even the idea of a man leading seems repulsive to them, but it's literally, it is literally how they're wired. Mm-hmm. And so they can fight it and they can live in their past trauma and all the things that didn't go right. And a man can be a modern man and he can be all caught up in that he's this little woke individual who, thinks that he thinks he's respecting women by being a wuss.
Right.
Like he's literally a wuss. Like he's barely even a man. And if he were to put himself out there, people would think this about him because it's not even like soft in some of the senses. It's he's trying so hard to elevate her like a goddess. And she doesn't want to be that. She doesn't want to be elevated to a place like higher than him. And it's not about higher or lower. It's just in this, it's going against our DNA. It's going against how we were made.
Right. Well, he didn't make Adam and Adam or Adam and Dave. I mean, he made us Adam and Eve, and he made us different so we can balance each other. And I think the society has lost that.
Well, and I think that balance is important, right? Like you talked about early on. I'm looking for somebody who balances me, right? Like, I know what I'm good at. I know kind of what I'm looking for.
What are you good at?
So I'm very analytical, right?
Okay.
So, like, you give me a problem, I'll go out and solve it. I mean, you can give me anything, and I'll find you a solution. So I don't need somebody to go out and think for me.
So if she called you about the hot water heater, you might know somebody that knew a hot water heater.
I'm more than likely not going to be the person that's going to fix it. I'm more than likely going to be the person that calls somebody or like, hey, I've got a friend, or I'll figure out a solution. But more than likely, like from my standpoint, it probably won't be me fixing it unless I'm watching YouTube
Right.
and trying to figure it out. Now, I will generally attempt that, but it's not not my strongest trait, and I know that going in.
So then what complements you in the analytical side that you bring to the table?
I want somebody who's emotionally stable. But I value loyalty a lot, right? Like, I'm going to be loyal to you. I kind of expect the same. So, for me, and I run into this a lot with other people, like, if you're in a club every week and if you're constantly seeking attention on social media, like, if you got all kinds of seductive pictures out there like that, to me, like, if we get in a relationship, I'm going to have an issue with that. Because I'm going to give you loyalty, but I kind of want a certain amount of respect in return. That you're not trying to just seek attention from everybody. But emotional too. Like, I want stability, right? If you're all over the place, to me, that's not a good fit for me.
I would say to you that when you are in your full masculine energy, she will have no choice but to be loyal to you. Like, it's not even like it doesn't even like, I understand and agree, like, with how she's presenting herself or whatever. And she'll be discarded, quicker than a used tampon. Like, it's not, I don't know how quick that happened. I don't think I've ever done that before.
When's the last time you used a tampon?
Hey,
I'm curious.
they're in boys' bathrooms. I've heard they sell them to everybody now.
I get what you're saying, but if you're masculine and when you meet your person, I honestly believe when you're in the masculine state, she will naturally submit and go into her feminine state, and she will change by choice, not by being demanded to.
Correct.
Right.
And I think that's where men get it mixed up, because you see me, I post pictures in my story and stuff all the time, and it is not necessarily, and I'm not going to go on this why I do it, but it's for me and it's for my kids for when the time comes. So to think everyone posts pictures, but like today I was in coveralls and I still post a picture and I felt
I don't think
just as hot.
But you're not talking like that, are you? But you probably are hot.
But I'm just saying, like, a lot of guys I think misread, and some habits women have to break on their own. They can't be demanded to break them. Like, you were looking at those pictures and liking it when you got her, so just keep complimenting them and letting her know, like, I would like for that to be more for me. That's what I would like for guys to understand. Like, don't start demanding, because I started talking to a guy and he did the same thing. He said, do you have to put a picture on your story every day? And I said, no, I don't have to, but I do.
I think there's a difference between putting a picture on your story and putting very suggestive pictures to large groups of people.
My story is where everybody can look at it. It's public. But even with that, where you look, you have to ask yourself, was I looking and acknowledging those pictures prior to us getting together?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
I want to get to backtrack just to one. When I thought about this episode, this was for me what I wanted to definitely cover, and I'm gonna kind of say a couple things and then present it to you guys. So you meet someone on a dating app. We're talking about the beginning. Okay, so there's a pressure possibly to, maybe you need to be funny or you need to be a certain way. Like, you're engaging with somebody you don't know. And so you're trying to connect, and some people are naturally good at that and some people aren't. Mm-hmm. And somebody that's not good at that, may just struggle in the dating thing because it's like, I can't really get someone to actually know me because it's just, I'm not, maybe they're more introverted or whatever. So my question is this. My question is, would you have any advice for someone who is on dating apps there to meet people, how to best represent themselves or how to just approach the beginning conversations that you would have with someone?
I struggle with that. Yeah. On dating sites, believe it or not, I don't know how to start a conversation or to run with a conversation because I'm thinking, this person's, how do I know this is even the right person? So, like, if you're on dating sites, I really struggle with making that connection with them.
So one thing I do with the dating sites, I look at what the man is presenting. First of all...
What does that mean?
Like, so if he's into sports, so maybe I will open the conversation like, how about those Chiefs?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I can show him that I do care about football.
Right.
So the only thing I care about the ballet also, but I will understand your football and being your masculine energy for a minute. But also one thing that I don't like on a male site is when they black out a woman's face because they don't know
that picture.
Yes, and they don't know how to freaking take a selfie of themselves, or have your friend take pictures.
Or wait, in the bathroom mirror, they take one and they got the toilet behind them because they don't know how to flip the camera.
Yes,
That's the
you know
best.
what I mean. I'm like, really? How are you going to do that to because you're actually marketing yourself. When you're on a dating site, you're marketing yourself.
Right.
This is what I have to offer. This is me. This is updated pictures of me.
Right.
So why are they putting a picture of them and another woman and they blacked out her face? It's too easy. Can you please explain that to me? I'm sure y'all haven't done that.
I will be honest. I don't know how to black like that.
I didn't know how to black things out. So
Did you know that men do that?
I just posted me and my ex-wife on there. I was like, I'm just kidding. I
No.
didn't.
But did you know that men will do that on their dating site?
I didn't. Mostly women just block out their kids. I see that all the time.
That's okay.
Or
Right.
a guy that posts his pictures of his kids with him.
No.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Why?
Well, because I don't think you need to be putting your kids out there like that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Right.
If you're that open and free with your kids, then I just begin to question, like,
okay.
what else are you going to be open about, So, I don't.
But it also
like that.
tells us, I ain't raising nobody else's babies.
Well,
And I won't even date a guy that's got kids still at home.
Yeah. Okay. What would you say, Bruce? With any thoughts on just the nervousness of the beginning stages of conversation?
Well, I'll tell you, I do much better in person, right? So I'm in these singles group. I post lots of funny stuff. So a lot of people get my sense of humor. This group's, these groups that are in 4,000 or 5,000 people. I'm well known, but I'm well known because I went to a lot of stuff and met a lot of people in person. I do better there, and I know that, right? So I know that my strength is not going to be trying to meet somebody on a dating app. That's probably not how I'm going to meet my person.
Right.
I'm going to meet my person falling up the steps while they're coming down the steps.
Yeah, like so sometimes you got to know what you're good at, right? Like if you're not good on a dating app and conversation, then you have to find some kind of common ground where you can meet people that have similar interests. Like for me, I know that's one of my weaknesses. I know that I'm gonna stumble through a conversation on an app. So I knew that when I got divorced. So I was like,
But now you're brave enough to come on a podcast. So that's pretty.
I just want to meet people. I'm like, you're
Yeah.
gonna think what you think of me. I post a lot of memes, so people either like my sense of humor or they think that I'm crazy and lost my marbles. But I'm like, at least I'm authentic and I'm who I am.
Right.
You know, like if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But the reality is, if you don't like it, you're not going to want to date me anyways.
One of the things that I've seen time and time again is that men and women generally, but it never happens on my end because I don't allow it to happen, because I'm controlling the dynamic of the conversation that's happening on a dating app. But in some of my female friends and some of their experiences, it's small talk, like that just doesn't stop. So it's about your work and how are you doing and good morning, beautiful. And it's just this constant beret of like meaningless conversation. So here's somebody that we don't know. I don't know who you are. And I'm supposed to care about your day. I don't care about your day. I literally could care less. I don't care where you work. I don't care that you had a bad day. I don't care that you have a cough right now. Like, quit telling me stupid things. I don't actually care. The only thing that matters right now is how you think and who you are. So you're going to answer my question. I'm going to ask you questions because I want to understand you, get to know you. And that's the first thing is like men, I mean, I think they should lead this. It doesn't always happen, but men need to be inquisitive more than your favorite color, or if you like the Chiefs or Royals better, but actually like getting into like, for instance, what's something you've learned about yourself in the last year in dating, or what is, what is something that you've seen, if I'm talking to a female, obviously, what is something that, you see men do right and wrong in dating, or females right and wrong, like get them talking about their opinions, their ideas, their thoughts, and get away. Because if I'm dating someone, I want to know about her day. I'm asking about her day. I can't wait till she tells me about her day. Like that is the most like, but I don't care if I don't know them. So I need to know you. So I think the other thing that is helpful is, some people like to have like telephone conversations. It's fine. I think it's overrated, but it's fine. But I also am not going to text these long diatribe of answers to somebody. So I, as you know, as everybody here knows, maybe Bruce doesn't know, I know you two know, is I just go straight to audio. I just
He's
talk.
an audio guy.
Audio, we're going to talk.
I do too, though.
Yeah, I know.
My son actually audioed me the other day. I was like,
so
wow.
cute. Wow.
What's up, Trevor?
Okay, buddy. Brave.
Trevor's like audioing me. I was like, what's up?
Well, and I'll just say, like, it's very easy to get, when you get into it, if you get into that small talk and it stays there for too long, it generally kills the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, you go into, like, friend zone, I guess is a good way to put it. Like, this is going nowhere.
Yeah, who cares?
I mean,
we don't care.
Or I hate when they ask, like, well, I want to get to know you, so tell me about you.
Yeah, that's the best you have. Like, that's literally the worst question you could have asked me.
Yeah, like, tell me about you. I'm like, what do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, I just flip it back. And, like, so I'll do memes. Like, I did one the other day.
Yeah,
It says, me, you, and tacos. And you get this, I'm in. Hell yeah. What time do I pick you up? And you never get this, I would love to be the person that gets to take you to have tacos and a meaningful conversation. I almost, like, did an update and said, hey guys, just to let you know, like, this would have probably got you a date with tacos.
Right.
Not just for me, but from a lot of women, right? Like, and some of them jump in there and they're my friends. They like to cock block, so they like to jump on there and say stuff a lot.
Right.
But then some of them are guys that are also trying to jump in my DMs. They're over here like, me, or I'm like, let's go unplug Christmas lights and make everybody unhappy like us.
That's right.
And I get like,
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'm in. I mean, I would just like for them to go more in depth, like to make it more like want to be personable.
Right.
So, like, effort, too? I mean,
Yeah, effort's important.
I mean, some of that goes to effort, right? Like, if the only thing you're saying is me or the only thing you're saying is hi, there's 20 other dudes trying to do that.
Yeah.
And the same thing with women, I'm finding. Women have 20 dudes who want to say the exact same thing.
So distinguish, right? What is different? Like,
you have to stand out somehow.
Yeah, and it means you care and you give effort, like you were saying. There's another girl I was talking to, and she was describing a dating situation. She's like, why is this guy, after 2 dates, acting like I'm the love of his life, and literally all we've had are boring small talk? You don't even know, you know nothing about me.
Right.
Like, you've learned this amount. So either you're like desperate or lonely or just wanting to have sex, but you can't think these big things if we haven't even had an interesting, in-depth conversation yet. So you're wasting your time, guys, or gals. I mean, whatever. I've intimidated some girls through like, oh wow, that's such a big question. I was like, yeah, you're wasting my time. Answer it or just go. Because
my girlfriend Sherry's like that. She doesn't like when they do long, big questions or whatever. She's just like, you know, let's talk, let's meet, and let's see if there's a connection. Like, I don't want to tell you all this in depth about me if we meet and there's nothing there. And I said, well, I could see your point on that too. I'm at the point where I don't even, they say, do you want to go to dinner? No, but I'll meet you for coffee. And if I can stand to have a cup of coffee and still want to stay and talk to you, then I might want to have dinner with you. Right. That's literally my response now.
Yeah, it's probably a smart way to go. It's smart. And yes, it's definitely a smart way to go. You can't do all serious conversations, but they have to be like, I have a music one I do, I have a food one I do, there's a fun travel one I do, but there's like, I have different questions. I was a teacher, so like the first day of class, I'd put the kids up in front of the class and I'd like put them on the spot, these little scared little kids, and Perna, our video maestro back here, like he did it a long time ago. Like I just put them up in front, like, and I would just ask them questions. So I've been asking people questions my entire life. So didn't know I was going to be, single and trying to date, but it's just, I want to know. Like, I want to know more about you. And that's, the way you do it one way or another. So.
Well, and again, like, my whole thing is like, everybody knows my memes, right? So people know that, like, I have a sense of humor. I'm very much pro, like, let's get out and meet. Like, just come out and interact with me. There'll be other people around. Like, you can get a feel for how I am. If you don't like me, you don't like me. If I don't like you, I don't like you. But at least I can start to get a feel for who you are. I don't want to get stuck in a conversation where I'm just in the DMs. Like, if you aren't making effort to meet, then it's going to die off.
Now, so you're doing that within the singles group? Is that what you're
I mean, the thing is, like, I'll either have people message me, or sometimes if somebody makes an interesting comment, or, I pay a lot of attention to how people interact. So, like, look, I mean, these groups talk, so I kind of know if you're a decent person or not, or if you have similar interests. But, like, yeah, if I'm in a group chat and you make an interesting comment, you may get a message, but generally, like, my thing is I want to meet you. I don't want to be in an endless conversation that goes nowhere for a month or two and then find out that you're not interested or I'm not interested.
I wonder why women don't want to meet. Are they afraid?
Sometimes,
Why women don't want to what?
Meet. Like, say if you wanted to meet somebody up in there.
Well, women want to meet.
Well, I just wonder, like, if they're hanging out in his DMs and they're.
Well, sometimes they don't. Like it depends. You know, sometimes
I
they.
ain't afraid of meeting.
Sometimes they have other dudes who are.
I'd say let's go have coffee at the Fuel House. That's my new go-to.
Where's the field house at?
Fuel House
Oh, Fuel House. Okay.
in Bonner.
Bonner.
But it's like, it's got a cool coffee bar.
Yeah,
and
it's
then you
good,
can have
yeah.
alcoholic coffee drinks too if you want that. But then it's got great sitting. It's like the perfect atmosphere that makes you want to have conversation. It's relaxed. They got little couches, chairs. They got all these different areas. So that's my new go-to. And
I want to talk to people. I like to talk. So,
but see, it makes you have to have a conversation, which at a bar, you're drinking, there's noise around, bands, it's louder.
Yeah.
You know, you can't always have that conversation and look at them and see. So, yeah, the new that coffee thing's my new thing.
I like that.
Folks, we're going to wrap up this episode. Everybody now that's listening knows exactly how to approach dating. You'll do much better in your first couple weeks. There's really nothing else you need to know. So if you miss something, just watch the episode again. If you're a little slow, that's okay. But quit doing the same stupid stuff we see you guys do constantly. Anyway, just kidding. Have a nice day, everybody. We will see you soon. Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. You can reach out on Ben's website, www.benkeechshow.com, or on social media to chat. And please remember to subscribe so that you never miss an episode.